Good afternoon.
Thank you, Stan. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Hartford School Building Committee regular meeting, October 21st, 2024. Call this meeting to order at 12:04. First item on the agenda is welcome and roll call. Mr. Little, please.
Mr. Paul Drummond.
Present.
Councilman Clark. Sorry.
Present.
Davis. Okay, thank you, Councilman. Has Sherry returned yet? I'll call her last.
Yeah,
Okay, Mr. Algary.
Present.
Mr. Edison Silva.
Present.
Mr. Clarence Corbin.
Present.
Ms. Shantae Browdy.
Present.
Mr. Corey Mills.
Present.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to Chief Davis Gooch.
Present. Sorry about that, Mr. Little.
No problem. We definitely have a quorum. Thank you and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Little. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. Item number 2 on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from the September 16th, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion, please?
So move.
Chief Davis Gooch. And second,
Second.
Mr. Silva. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll go into roll call. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Mills. You're going to abstain, I imagine?
Yep. Excellent thought.
Thank you, sir. Chief Davis Gooch.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
And Mr. Gary.
Yes.
Okay, with that, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Item number 3 on the agenda is public participation. I'll read a little note here. Public participation will be supported through the duration of this meeting by using the comments function on either YouTube, Facebook, or by emailing comments directly to myself at paul.drummy@hartford.gov prior to or during the meeting. And at this time, we usually ask Mr. McCauley if there's anybody online with a question.
There are no questions or comments at this time.
Thank you, Mr. McCauley. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. Item number 4 on the agenda is administrative. There are no administrative items at this time, so we'll move on to agenda item number 5, which is current projects under construction, Arcadis O&G CNR program management. And 5A is action items, and I'll hand it over to Mr. Buckus.
Thank you and good afternoon. First item before us today is change order number 5 to Newfield for the Buckley High School project. Total value is a net credit of $3,783. These items have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Jack, did I hear 25 or 5?
Change order number 25.
25, thank you. Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gary.
Sure.
Second,
Second.
Mr. Silva. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Mills will abstain. Chief Davis Gooch.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back to Mr. Mills because he does not need to abstain on this. Unless you would like to, Mr.
Yes.
Mills.
We're gonna go with yes.
Okay. All right, with that, the motion carries. Jack?
Next item before us is change order number 26 to Newfield for the Buckley High School project. Net value is $31,109. These items have also been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Councilman Clark with Mr. Gary as the second.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Mills.
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
I abstain, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
you got it. Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
and Mr. Gary.
Yes.
With 6 ayes and 1 abstention, the motion carries. Jack?
Thank you. Next item before us is change order number 27 for Buckley High Central Administration Project. Total value of this is an add of $8,651. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Jack, is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Clark, second.
Second.
Mr. Gary,
Yes.
any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Mills,
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe,
Yes.
Ms. Rowdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
and Mr. Gary.
Yes.
Okay, with 7 yeses, motion carries. Jack, we can move on to Burns School.
Yes, the next item before us is change order number 28 to PDS for the Burns project. Total value is $182,927. This includes an item for the underslab drainage and storm drain connection to help alleviate the groundwater problem that caused significant delays for our work in the kitchen and cafeteria area. These items have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Gary, second.
Second.
Mr. Silva, discussion.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, Ms. Browning.
So with like with some of the items that come up under change order, is it anticipated even at the time of someone putting in a bid to be the contractor, are some of them anticipated and unknown, and like they'll come up and we would expect a change order, or all of these generally this is something that we did not anticipate at all?
Great question, Ms. Browdy. And I was gonna have a little discussion myself on this particular 108, because this was kind of anticipated. So the cafeteria and kitchen should be handed over to the student population already, but we ran into some flooding issues when we opened up the slab. It took a considerable amount of effort on the design team, the geotech, and the CM, as well as the OPM and the city, to kind of figure out what's going on. And we're not going to put brand new stuff back in if it's going to continue to take on water in the future. So this 108 is actually part 3 of 2 previous change orders we've done to alleviate any flooding in the future. And this 108 is taking all the water away from the cafeteria out to a catch basin on the street. So all the storm will be separated and away from the cafeteria. So we are, with confidence, know that this space will stay dry in the future. But going back to your general question is, some change orders through allowances are anticipated, right? And that's why when we go to the state and we put in allowances, which are not part of the GMP until they're approved by the change order committee. But we do know that there's certain things that you can't anticipate, so we do put allowances within the project itself. But for the most part, the whole premise of a change order itself isn't unforeseen in the documents, Ms. Browdy.
Mr. Chair, may I add to
Please.
that?
Please, Mr. Gary.
The other change order would be something that we would request that's not in the documents.
Yes, that's good. A proposal request as well could be a change. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Ms. Browdy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Mills,
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
and Mr. Gary.
Yes.
7 yeses, the motion carries. Okay. Next on the agenda is project reports. Jack?
Thank you. As we work through project report for Buckley and Burns, we see that we have no current changes necessary in schedule or budget. Next page. We are handily meeting our goals for local employment and MBE employment on Buckley, exceeding it again for MBE employment on Burns. And we're still working within our tight margins with our limited scope for Hartford resident, but we're holding strong at 25%. Next. As we look through budget aspects, we remain about 9.2 million unencumbered on Buckley High School, including contingencies and unbought scope such as furniture and technology. And for central administration, we're about 1 million unencumbered. That includes contingency, furniture, and technology. Next. Overall project progress is moving along at Buckley. You can see from the images, the track and field work is in very good condition. The exterior envelope progress has been notable. It's refreshing to drive by the building and having it look more like a building every day. Right now, our phase 7 contractors are continuing on according to schedule. And we are maintaining schedule, including the expected delivery of our electrical switchgear. Next. For Burns, we're about 9.7 million unencumbered. That includes monies for owner's contingency, which included scope increases requested by the owner to match parity with other projects, plus our furniture and technology budgets as well. Next. Here at Burns, we're also making good progress. Now that we have the cure for the groundwater issues at the cafeteria and kitchen, that is back on schedule. We did experience approximately an 18-week delay in turnover for that space due to that complication. For areas 5 and 6, work is continuing on schedule. And again, we have no overall project impact on schedule at this time. Next. And you'll see some of the illustrations of work underway within the building, rooftop equipment, under slab plumbing, and again, especially in those kitchen and cafeteria areas, that's a good sign for progress. Next. 90-day look ahead is going to be fairly consistent with what we've seen the last couple of months. We have the majority of our contractors active at this time through phase 7, and they're continuing on progress for the renovation of the school itself, as well as the erection of the commissary building, and looking to outfit that area as well. Next. For Burns, areas 5 and 6 continuing on. Again, looking at the installation by November of finishes in the kitchen and cafeteria area in order to be preparing to turn those spaces back over as well. Area 5, it will be ready for punch list by November. And we're also making significant finishes progress in area 6. Next. And we'll hand the baton over to Colliers.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the first item on our agenda is amendment number 1 for TSKP Studios. This is for the consolidation of the 3 parcels into one. This is required by DAS to have all this underneath 1 parcel instead of 3. Another item is for the geotechnical borings. This was required because there's a small addition in the back of Batances. The next item is for an ad service for the scoping of the rain leaders. They had to review this item to make sure that to determine if it needs to be replaced or needs to be serviced. And another, the last item is for the reimbursements for the architect. This includes any MDC fees as well as any large printings for the client. And this is in a total of $32,889. We're recommending the Hartford School Building Committee to affirm the change order committee's approval of the listed amendment and authorize the chairman of the Hartford School Building Committee to execute amendment number 1 to the TSK Studios in amount of $32,899. Furthermore, the Hartford School Building Committee authorizes the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to TSKP Studio to include these services.
Thank you,
Any
Judy.
questions?
We'll give that a moment, Judy. Sorry, I was on mute when I was introducing you. This is agenda item number 6.
Oh, it's okay.
This is the current projects
Okay.
under design, Colliers Project Leaders, and this was the first amendment number 1 for TSKP Studios in the amount of $32,899. Is there a motion?
One moment, please, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
There's a typo. I believe the correct amount is 32,889, which is shown at the bottom of the first page. But then there was a math error. So it should be 32,889.
Okay. Is there a motion for $32,889 for amendment number 1 for TSKP Studios?
Mr. Chairman, so
moved.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Corbin, discussion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Mills,
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
and Mr. Gary.
Yes.
7 yeses, motion carries. Judy?
Thank
Next.
you. The next item on our agenda is for change order number 1 for Batasas. This includes staff parking at the church, which is located next to the school. It also includes covering up the crushed stone with asphalt, which is on site. This change order was in a total amount of $32,278.58. Our recommendation is for the Hartford School Building Committee to affirm the change order committee's approval of this listed change order and to authorize the chairman of the Hartford School Building Committee to execute change order number 1 to the Downs Construction in amount of $62,278.58. Furthermore, the Hartford School Building Committee authorizes the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to Downs Construction Company as shown above.
Thank you, Judy. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Silva, discussion?
I have a
Hearing-
question.
Yes, please, Ms. Browdy.
So this is 60,000 for staff parking at a nearby church?
Yeah. So the site logistics are so tight, Ms. Browdy. Other than having the staff park on the streets blocks away, this was the only localized piece of parking that we could entertain. And when we approached the owner of the parcel, this was the offer.
Mr. Chair, is this for a particular period of time?
That was
It
my
is.
next question.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Pellman, Judy?
Yes, so this parking is for a duration of the 3 years, and it's for 10 months out of the 12 months when school is actually in session.
And how many spots?
It's 10 spots.
$60,000? Okay,
Yes.
let me not react. Let me just ask. Have we compared other parking spots and what that runs, or did we just accept the proposal of this is how much we're charging?
No, as a part of our assessment of the parking. We did identify other locations around the area, and this was the most feasible as well in close proximity to the site.
And where is this again? I'm sorry, that's my last question.
Yeah, it's right next door
This
to
is, so
the Batances School.
The Polish home, the old Polish home?
Correct.
We are paying $60,000 to park at the Polish National Home that's currently closed.
No, it's currently a church right now.
Yeah, Judy, I'll just add, this is for over the course of 3 years.
Correct.
So this is 10 spots. I think it's like $10 a day per spot for 10 months out of the year for 3 years. It's total of $60,000. Or what? Yeah.
And that was Mike from Downs Construction.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Please, Councilman Clark.
Was there any discussion with Hartford Parking Authority with the lot that that City Hall employees utilize, which is right around the corner from the school?
Not that I'm aware of, Councilman.
No.
Colliers?
No, I personally have not had any discussions with the parking officials.
We did have discussions with the parking officials to verify the costs we're getting from the church. And the church's price was compatible with what we were looking at across in that parking authority location.
It would have been the same price, right?
It would have been the same price. I did not look for discounts or anything from this parking authority. The school was not really interested in going that far.
Yeah, Chairman, through you.
Please.
Yes. That's what I was going to share. That, I mean, I know $10 a day made, and you know, when you look at the 62,000, it appears to be a lot over 3 years, $10 a day. But certainly we're in a place in a district where we don't want to impact our staffing too much in terms of their daily needs. So what's probably not taken in consideration here is that if you move away too far, right? We have staff who are parents as well. So if you move away too far, then you're changing their morning travel time and such if we start saying it's further away from the building. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Chief Davis.
Mr. Chairman, just the other item, which is the asphalt, that's just to make the site available for parking.
It was more for, we had used crushed stone as a covering for the temporary electrical going down to the temporary classrooms.
Okay.
One of the issues came up, the kids were starting to throw the stones around, so the principal requested that we put some asphalt over it.
Okay.
As is two PCOs and one change order, Mr. Corbin.
Okay, I just want to make sure we were not making an outside improvement.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Drummond, am I able to ask a question or no? I respectfully, this is Nick LeBron.
I see you, Mr. LeBron. How are you, sir?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. If I'm not, that's okay.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know the appropriateness of it. Councilman Clark?
To you, Mr. Chair, with all due respect, it would be not in order because Mr. LeBron respectfully is not a member of the committee. Think probably what the more preferable time would be during public comment.
So I just want to say, like, it's hard in public comment to talk when you don't see the active agenda items. But anyway, nonetheless, I respectfully.
Thank you, Mr. LeBron. With that, we'll move on to roll call. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch?
Yes.
Ms. Browdy?
No.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
And Mr. Gary?
Yes.
With 6 yeses and 1 no, the motion carries. Judy? Kennelly.
Yep. So the next item is change order number 2 for Kennelly. This is for the removal and disposal of the Connex box, some various upgrades for the WSA bins, striping included, as well as additional fencing. This is in a total of $13,597.29. Our recommendations for the Hartford School Building Committee to affirm the change order committee's approval of the listed change order and authorize the chairman of the Hartford School Building Committee to execute the change order number 2 to Downs Construction in the amount of $13,597.29. Furthermore, the Hartford School Building Committee authorizes the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to Downs Construction Company as shown above.
Thank you, Judy. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay,
Mr. Gary, second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Corbin, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Mills,
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
Mr. Gary,
Yes.
and with 7 yeses, the motion carries. Judy?
And the next item on our agenda is for soil transport and disposal.
So
we
Judy,
actu-
I
Yep.
just want to note before you get started on this one, has not been reviewed by the committee. This came in late Friday after our subcommittee meeting, so this is a full review in front of this full committee. First time we're looking at it, so please continue, Judy.
Yep,
with the
so as a
support
part
your
of,
seat.
yep. So as a part of this change order, we actually have Downs Construction, Michael, who's going to review the PCO for you guys before you review and give us your approval. Mike, if you can, through the chair.
Yes, please.
Sure. So this is to transport and dispose of the soil that we are currently starting to fill the bins with. So as part of phase 1, enabling different from Betances, the soil was not, the transporting and hauling from the soil was not included in the bid. So that's why this is done as a change. There is a plus or minus 3,000 tons of soil that will need to be hauled off of the site. And this is, will basically be treated like an allowance. We'll track all the costs to load and haul off the soil kind of by ticket. And, so they can kind of bill this as an allowance, this change order. So this will be for the transport and disposal of 3,000 tons estimated that will need to be hauled off.
Mike, can we talk a little bit about timing on what was originally anticipated and why we are where we are now and why this wasn't covered in phase 1? Anticipated to be covered in phase 1?
Yeah, well, there was a couple of factors there. One, the location of the temporary classrooms were originally closer, like against the sidewalk, and there'd be more fill, so they were actually moved closer to the building. So there's really no fill under there, and there was just more soil than anticipated that needs to be removed. So it was, unfortunately not included when this project went out to bid in April. And now that's why it's a change order. So that's why we originally had the bins approved previously. So the soil could be stockpiled there temporarily, but no matter what, it needs to be hauled off. And I think we will, so the bins will be used for a couple, like the driveway area that we're doing now, the playground area. But we probably will direct load some of the soil at the temporary classrooms. So this will be a kind of a combination of both, but there's really not a big cost difference in that at all. But however, we did need the bins so we can get started, and because this change order was not approved yet.
Yeah, we understood that. We were entertaining an email vote last week, but then decided to bring this to full committee, knowing that the timing was still okay today to have Downs move forward and not hem up the schedule. As far as the allowance, how do we state that this is an allowance, if it is indeed an allowance, Mike?
Well, because it basically, it's a change order. If we do a, $15,000 change order, I'd be sitting in front of you in like 3 or 4
More
days.
stating so, Mike, than anything. Like, this is
Okay.
a not to exceed 255 or, I think
Correct.
in the motion. Okay.
Yeah, in the change order, in the description, I kind of clarify it that this will be done on TNM.
Okay.
We'll review all the tickets with Colliers, and when they bill, when they invoice it, we'll have all that ticket back up.
Do you have that description before us in the packet, or is that?
I don't,
Okay.
it does not appear to be in there.
It was provided as an attachment.
Paul, if you would like to, and if I may step in, if you would like for the committee to approve this as a not to exceed, you can just, as the chair, and being it is the first time that everybody has seen this, you can add the wording to Downs Construction in the not to exceed amount of 225,400.
Okay. All right, that's fair, Emily. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any further discussion? Actually,
I have a question.
we haven't
I don't even know
motioned.
if that's what say I'll wait.
Yeah, I never even motioned it. All right, so is there a motion?
Yeah, make that motion.
All right, Mr. Corbin, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gary? And now we're into discussion. Ms. Rowdy?
Yes, is this something that would have gone, because it was stated that it did not go out to bid, is this something that would have gone out to bid?
This scope of work actually was part of phase 2. The dollars were counted for in that phase. We had over $1.2 million, I believe it was, in that phase 2 of the project. We did review the unit prices with Eagle Environmental, who is our consultant on the environmental side. He felt these numbers were more than fair and reasonable at this point. Can I answer your question?
So, I'm sorry, Ms. Rowdy?
No, you can go ahead, Mr. Chair.
So this was accounted for, it's just the timeline is we needed it sooner than later, Ray. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
We knew this was coming, we just needed it quicker so Downs can get moving and get the temporary classrooms in place.
Correct. So the funds have all been accounted for.
Okay, second question. So did I hear that this is something wrong with this soil, or it just needs to be moved?
There's 2 types of soils here. There's polluted soils and contaminated soils. This area here is all polluted. It's mostly asphalt and
Urban fill.
asphalt byproducts.
Urban fill.
Right.
Typical throughout the city.
Do we know where this soil is going to?
Yeah, so that we require a manifest, Ms. Rowdy, a signed manifest, so the city understands exactly where it's going to, so nobody can take it and bring it somewhere else, and we're not liable for contaminating somebody else's property. So there's a process in place that Eagle Environmental, who's on this project, makes sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed when protecting the city from removing soils like this outside city limits.
Okay, because I just had it because I was a part of there is a place that takes this type of soil that is in the northeast neighborhood that has come to their NRZ meetings. So I was just interested, was that the location, because there was some community concerns about that particular facility, but that's all my questions are.
I'm raising my
This
eyebrows.
consultant's looking to go to Agawam for this product. This hasn't been approved yet, but that's where they're looking to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Browdy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch?
Yes.
Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
Mr. Gary?
Yes.
All right, with 7 yeses, motion carries. Judy, which school?
Just to go back, there was a clerical error but for the recommendation. The amount should be 255,400.
Yeah, so
Right where the
Judy, thank you for
recommendation
that.
is. Yep.
Yeah, why don't you read the motion with the not to exceed in that? I
Sure.
guess, or is it too late? Robert's rules here. So Emily did state it before we motioned on it, but technically, Emily, help me out here.
Since the amount is modified, you would have to take a revote with the revised, make a new motion for the revised amount.
So, yeah, I see the clerical
You
error
can
again.
say, yeah, so you can, your motion can say that due to the finding of a clerical error, you're looking to revise the motion.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate you. So due to a finding of a clerical error, the Hartford School Building Committee affirms that approves the above change order and authorizes the chairman of the HSBC to execute a change order number 3 to Downs Construction in the not to exceed amount of $255,400. Furthermore, the HSBC authorizes the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to Downs Construction Company as shown. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Councilman Clark, thank you. Second?
Second.
Mr. Gary, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call again. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe?
Yes.
Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
Mr. Gary?
Yes.
All right, 7 yeses, the motion carries. Judy, you have a little quick presentation for us on WISH?
Yes, we do. So prior to the presentation, we do have Lisa from JCJ as well as Fawn. Just to give a little background, this design development presentation was reviewed by the advisory committee. There was also reviewed by the Hartford Public Schools in the city of Hartford. And then they're pretty much going to review with you guys the development of the drawings at this point, a little bit more details as we go from design development into the construction documents. Through you, Chair, can we have Lisa or Fawn present?
Yeah, Judy, is it the artist known as Fawn, or does Fawn have a last name?
Pellegrini.
Pellegrini, okay. Fawn Pellegrini, take it away.
Thank you. Yes, this is Fawn Pellegrini of JCJ Architecture. I'm the project manager for the project, and Lisa Saint Amand is the project designer. So I will pass the baton to her just quickly. I believe the last time that we all looked at the project, we were really talking about just location of the school on the site and reasons why. And then we were also looking at basic layout of the building arrangement and reasons why we had the building laid out the way we did. And now, of course, we're much further along, and Lisa can take it away with refinement of the spaces.
Thanks, Fawn. This is just the existing site plan, so a reminder of where we were at originally. Next slide. One of the things that we had heard from the school and the community was about site circulation. So in this slide here, you can see that we have the bus loop off of Barber Street with a pass through into the parking. If someone was to come onto Barber Street, they could go up north. Sorry, that's Plan North into the parking and circulation there. Off of Kensington, we have added and introduced a new entrance from Kensington, Plan North, you can see. And then below that is where the existing curb cut is, where we have both egress and exiting out of for circulation on site. So in this area, you'll see that there's parking for staff and visitors. Parents would come through this parking lot and then circulate around towards the building, where you can see the bus drop off there. I'm sorry, the parent drop off loop. And then they'll have the opportunity to egress out either back through onto Kensington, or once the buses have left, there is the opportunity for them to open up a gate and then egress through the bus loop and back out onto Barber Street. Other site development, we're looking at the layout of the playscapes, the 3 playscapes for the students. And then in addition to that, you can start to see at this point, we're just refining the site and developing it a little bit further. I think those are the new changes that have been incorporated on the proposed site plan.
Yeah, I think you captured it. Yeah.
The proposed first floor plan, all the adjacencies are still the same as we had previously presented. What we're doing now is really making sure we have all of the MEP spaces where they need to be located, appropriately sized, as well as the custodian closets, all of the things that go into making the building work. So a lot more coordination with our consultants at this point and development of the plan refining, but all of the adjacencies still remain the same. Next slide. And the same thing for the proposed second floor. So adjacencies are still the same. It's just the refinement of the electrical room and roof access that we've been incorporated, and just coordination with our consultants. This is showing the development of the elevations. The west elevation is what you'll see from Barber Street. The north elevation is what you'll see if you pull into the site and are headed to the Fire Circus Memorial. Next slide. The south elevation is what you'll see from Kensington. And the east elevation is what you'd see if you were standing in the back of the building. I'm sorry, in like the play area looking back towards the school. Next slide. These are the exterior materials that we've narrowed down to what the finishes will be. So we have 2 different color brick. We have some red metal panel. We have fiber cement panels and a gray metal panel as well. Next slide. And this is just those materials in real life and not digital images from the website. Next slide. And this is what the school starts to look like. So this is a bird's eye view looking towards the school. You can see the main entrance, the white cube, if you will. That's the cementitious panel. The red metal panel is wrapping the window. We have the 2 different color tones of the brick, the red and then the darker kind of grayish color. You can see the articulation of the site in how the site circulation is working with the bus drop off, and then the parking for staff and visitors along with the parent drop off. You can see that the site is fenced in, and then the playscapes in the back as well. Next slide. And this is what the school would look like once arriving to the school. So this is if you're pulling in, this is what you'll be seeing in front of you, and you're pulling in from the bus loop off of Barber Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, Mr. Gary.
Thank you very much. Through you, I'd like to call attention to the fact that Gita Cook Jackson, JCJ has been very deliberate in avoiding, I should say respecting the footprint of the Hartford Circus Fire. It's no longer in the backyard or the playground as it is existing now. There's part of it in the playground of the, once was the playground. But now it's totally separate and divided away from any interaction or any overlap in footprint and or sharing of space. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure we will in the future once we start calling more attention to the existence of the Hartford Circus Fire facility there. Thank you.
Mr. Gary.
And Mr. Chair, through you, if possible,
Of course.
Mr. Gary, I know you were part of the advisory committee. There were some concerns you had identified as a part of the presentation. Would you be able to, elaborate on those concerns you had?
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see. I think I was concerned about separating the interior of the facility. There is the auditorium. Well, it's not it's a cafetorium area which could be utilized after hours or separate from the school activity. I was looking for I was suggesting to consider separating or controlling that with some form of a door or some type of a controlling door within the corridor. So you could shut down and totally separate that activity from the rest of the school. If it's operating after hours, no one would be able to go into the school. But I was told that security would manage that. So at least we discussed, and it's been brought before the administration. I think we talked about some other things too. I think, the other thing I was concerned about was the present foot traffic that goes through the neighborhood, moving north and south through the rear of the facility, and we're not. It was decided not to interfere with that, but just to make sure that it doesn't interact or cross into the school facility, which it does presently. We also, I don't know, maybe you need to help me with some other things, Judy. I think those are the two things I was mostly concerned. I was also concerned about mixing the the traffic. I think there was a long traffic discussion of separating the school bus from the parent drop off. And there is a connector between the two, which can be controlled by the administration or by the facility.
By a gate, I'm sorry.
A gate, yes, a gate.
Yeah, that would be a
Yeah,
gate, yes.
that's more clear. All right, thank you. Thank you. Um, Anything else, Sharon, that I missed or?
I think the only other discussion was around access for staff.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Along that long elevation near the parking lot. Is that the west side elevation, Judy?
I think it's south and I think it's south and
South,
east.
south and north. Okay, so it's south, yes.
Yeah. The Kensington side in the rear, so-called the rear, which is the east. Yeah, the administration was very interested in making a separate, more separate from student a separation of the student and egress for the teachers through another entrance, just because of the concentration of all the activity in the mornings and stuff. And I think that's being addressed by the designers. There is a lobby, the huge lobby in the I guess it's the southwest quadrant. Oh, that's the main entrance, and we're looking at establishing another entry on the southeast for the teachers to enter. And we're looking at paving it and making it more of a walkway as opposed to just a driveway for emergency vehicles. Does that pretty much
That wraps it up, Val.
summarize it? Thank you.
Nice work. Ms. Browdy?
I have a question, yes.
Please.
Is all of this resulting in costing money? And I'm confused by some of the things Mr. Gary is stating. Are these just things he thinks is good for the project? Is the community telling us that? That's my question. But my comment, and I'll say this, that there has never been an issue with the school being being on the property where this circus fire was. Actually, the school, I think it would be, I'm not going to misspeak because I've met with former Chief Till at the site prior to the construction starting. And he gave the history. So it was a benefit for it to be not so separate as what was described by Mr. Gary, because it is a community event that happened. This school is on that site. So to me, the presentation of what was said today sort of, it made me feel like it should be separate. I just didn't like the comment, and excuse me if that was interpreted wrong, but it has never been an issue with the school in the site of the memorial. That has never been an issue. Actually, it was complimentary. But so that's my comment. But my question again is along the lines of who is all of these requests, keep this separate door and all of that? Is that coming from the community, or that's coming from Mr. Gary himself?
Chief Davis Goodrich, you
Yeah,
want
I can, yes, I can
Up in
respond to that. Thank you. So this is the advisory committee, Ms. Brody. And so that's a committee that's made up the parents, teachers, the school leadership, a member from the NRZ. So Mr. Gary serves as the chair for the advisory committee. So we met, was that last week? Yes, we met last week, and those were the discussions that came out of that meeting. So,
and I do want to make a point that to me, when I drop my child off at school, is a beautiful thing to see educators and parents and students interacting in a way. You're coming in, good morning, and it's a feel that I like seeing. I just wanted to make that point too.
yeah, I would say through you, Chair, I'm sorry.
Please.
I would say that wasn't the concern. Their concern was about the amount of traffic flow. So if you look at that side of the building, there is one major entrance, and then the other entrance, well, the major entrance is in the front, and then there was another entrance on the side. The concern was making sure that the flow based on the number of staff entering and students entering was that it would support like drop off morning and also during an emergency evacuation. So it wasn't, moving away from the engagement piece. It was just making sure that the flow was going to meet staff, family, and student needs.
And through you, Mr. Chair, those
Please.
changes that was referenced, was it monetary changes? And or maybe we're not at that point yet.
We're not at that point yet, Ms. Browdy.
Okay.
If I may add, Mr. Chair, to that point, thank you. To that point, the architects continuously reminded us that everything costs money. So we're very, very attentive to that.
And it's a tight budget. Okay. Judy, is there a recommendation here?
Yes, there is. So our recommendations for the Hartford School Building Committee is to approve the design development documents for the Freddie Wish Museum School as recommended by the advisory committee, and to authorize the architects JCJ Architecture to proceed with the construction documents phase.
Is there a motion?
I'm sorry. I feel like I've been out of turn, but I have a question regarding the recommendation.
Sure.
So we shared the same presentation through our board subcommittee meeting, with it being informational because there was no formal approval needed because of the regular process of approving phases through the state. So I'm just wondering, like, we're using the word approve here, but is it the same type of approval?
Yeah, so this is approval for them to go from design development to construction documents. It does not require the state's approval for the PCR. It's a little bit different.
This is a contract obligation.
Correct.
We have to give them permission to go on to the next phase.
Okay. from just the architect. I got it.
Correct.
I'm still
Yes.
comfortable then with what we did last week with the board. Thank you.
You're
Sounds
welcome,
good.
Chief. Ms. Browning, is your hand still up? Or is this a new question?
Nope, let me put it down.
Okay,
Okay, so I haven't interrupted. So moved?
okay, with that. All right, is there a second, please?
Second. Oh, sorry.
Silva,
Yes, you.
and any further discussion? I will add, I mean, this has been a long one. If you can back up a few slides to the rooftop. So what JCJ has also done is listened to the city wanting to keep as much clear space as possible. We're working on a portfolio of photovoltaic rooftop arrays, and this rooftop looks very attractive for a good business case when it comes to such. So with that, I appreciate them minding the request from the city. That's all I have for discussion. We'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark. Councilman Clark. I miss the chat. He may not be with us anymore. Okay.
Any longer in attendance, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mills.
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
And Mr. Gary.
Yes.
And Jack, did you say something about Councilman Clark?
I got kicked out.
Oh, there he is.
What do we, just for clarification? What
We're
do we,
approving them to move on to construction documents, Councilman.
okay, yes.
Okay. 7 yeses, motion carries. All right, Judy.
All right, the next item for our review is for an action item for RFP/RFQ for the structural peer review. And this is pretty much is a requirement based on the size of the gym and the cafeteria assembly. We had to make sure we have a structural review or on site for the project to review it to make sure that it complies with the maximum occupancy load. And then through you, Chair, the recommendations for the Hartford School Building Committee to authorize the program manager to initiate the RFP process to select a structural peer service consultant for the Freddie Wish School. The program manager shall present a recommendation for award for the bid review committee for the review and approval of such decision shall be reported to the entire Hartford School Building Committee for the record. Additionally, the Hartford School Building Committee authorizes the vendor to begin services immediately after a notice to proceed is issued by the program manager in order to meet the schedule. Concurrently, the Finance Department is authorized to issue a purchase order in the full fee amount as awarded by the bid review committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Corbin, second.
Second.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
And discussion. I have a word to say here. So this is common, new steel being put up. We don't see it often because we're renovating our buildings, but this is a brand new building requirement, as Judy noted. The rough order of magnitude, probably $20,000 to $50,000. So that's what we're looking at here to make sure that somebody else is looking at the structural analysis other than JCJ's structural sub. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Mills.
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
With 7 yeses, motion carries. Judy, please.
Last action item for today is for the Freddie Wish School. This is for the early release of package for the switchgear. This is an amount of $144,486. Our recommendation is for the Hartford School Building Committee to affirm the change order committee's approval of the listed change order and authorize the chairman of the Hartford School Building Committee to execute change order number 2 to Newfield Construction in the amount of $144,486. Furthermore, the Hartford School Building Committee authorized the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to Downs Construction Company as shown. I'm sorry, Newfield Construction Company as shown above. That's a typo, guys. Sorry about that.
So the motion is Newfield Construction Company.
Correct.
Okay, and the amount is correct this time, 144,486.
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Gary, second?
Second.
Councilman? Discussion,
A little background, Mr. Chair.
please. Let's see here. So lead times, Ms. Browdy is what the background is on this. I think you'll find that as the schools come forward, you'll see these early release packages to where we're having the CM procure the switchgear because the long lead times hem out the schedule. So this way, the switchgear will be handed over. I'd like to be a little more technical here. Is Scott or Ray, can you hop in?
So basically, once we got to the design development stage, we knew what kind of a load the buildings were going to take as far as electricity. At this stage, we would normally order anything to be long lead items, and particularly switchgear. We're talking about the panels, we're talking about transformers. And we're looking at this type of equipment being at least a 15 months lead time, which I think you found in the past of other schools has always been a problem. So we want to get ahead of this and get this gear on order, make sure it's there when we need it. So we're able to open up school in time. This money is accounted for in the base contract in our base budget. So it's not anything we did not expect. It's just we want to get ahead of the ball game and make sure it happens without a problem.
Thank you, Ray. Any further questions, Ms. Barry? Any follow-up?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Mills.
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
And Mr. Gary.
Yes.
All right, with 7 yeses, motion carries. Judy, item number 6B is project reports.
Yes. Next slide. So first, school is Matanzas. Contracted to date is $18,870,000. Paid to date is $2,312,000. We are in the process of receiving approval through PCR. Hopefully we'll get it by the end of October. The project is on budget. We recently received the MDC approval for phase 1. This is for the underground utility work that is required for the temporary classrooms. So we're on the way. I believe the construction starts tomorrow for this underground utility work. Next slide. We are exceeding for the Hartford residency in the MWBE percentage. We're at 58.6% for Hartford residency and 80.7% for NWBE participation. As you can see in October, we did some interior moves in order to accommodate for the nurse to be relocated and to have the preschool pre-K3 relocated inside the building. In the picture to the right above is the relocation of the nurse's suite to the conference room. Taking place this month will also be the temporary driveway install. In the month of November, we'll continue with delivery and all install of the temporary classrooms, as well as the beginning of phase 2 bidding. In the month of December, we'll have the install of the temporary classrooms will continue. And during this process, we'll also prepare for a classroom moving into the temporary classroom by packing. And then phase 2 bidding, we're expected to be due during the month of December. Next slide. Any questions on Matanzas? All right, for EB Kennelly, contracted today is $15.6 $2.6 million. Paid to date is $2,488,000. We're 100% complete for the design phase. We are currently out to bid. The bid was postponed to October 31st, originally October 24th. The project is on budget. We did receive MDC approval. Phase 1 underground utility work is in progress as we speak. Next slide. We're exceeding for both WBE and Hartford residency at 32.6% for Hartford residency, and NWE is at 81.9%. Next slide. To the right, you'll see some activities that are currently taking place. This is previously what was a playground and parking lot that's located at Kennelly. So you can see that they're doing some underground utilities. And then, like I said before, phase 2 bids are due for October 31st. And the end of November, we're expecting the delivery of the temporary classrooms, as well as prior to that, installing the foundations for those classrooms. In December, we'll have final connections for the temporary classroom, as well as final inspections, and we'll be packing the students up to be able to move to the temporary classrooms. Any questions for Kennelly? All right, for Freddie Wish, contracted to date is $12.4 million. Paid to date is $3.947 million. We're about 75% complete with the design process. You guys gave us permission to go to construction documents phase. The abatement is in progress for the demo of the school. Next slide. We are a slight shortfall for Hartford residency. We're currently at 28.9%. Non-compliance letters have been sent to the contractors who are not meeting their Hartford requirement. So those letters have been sent out. So our expectancy is for those numbers to increase for the coming weeks. And for the MWBE participation, we're at 88.2%. So we're exceeding in that area. Next slide. So as you can see, at this point, you can see right through the building. The abatement of the south wing and the center are ongoing now. And the design meetings are ongoing as we speak. The completion of the abatement will take place in November, by the end of November. And in the month of December, there'll be permitting and clearance for demolition. Any comments or questions as it relates to Wish? All right,
Thank you, Judy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Item number 7 on the agenda is current projects and startup, Arcadis ONG and Nutmeg. Jack, project reports, Moylan, McDonough, and Parkville.
Yes, thank you. All 3 projects are in the schematic design phase. Our intention was to meet with the state in order to discuss project finances as far as the comparison of replacement buildings versus renovation. And we were notified by the state that they have narrowed the scope of meetings that they are willing to have with districts that are pursuing projects. We're concerned about that because having seen what occurred at Wish with the change of course that was directed when building new was shown to be less expensive than renovating, we wanted to make sure that we were on the right track and that we could get their buy-in. As they are no longer communicating in that form, our intention is to prepare documentation that can be discussed with Hartford's delegation and lock in the projects in the appropriate project type through special legislation. We have a couple of facilities where it would be nearly impossible to come up with a scenario for a replacement building. Therefore, renovation is really the singular option. With McDonough, we have options for replacement, partial replacement, or full renovation. And we were intending to vet all those 3 with the state in order to illustrate why we thought a particular direction might be the most financially logical pursuit. Again, as the department is narrowing the scope of what meetings they're willing to have before you're at 100% design. We're looking to clear the air and make sure that we get our project approvals. These projects, all three of them, received grants as alteration projects, not renovation projects. So that's what's presenting the concern that we want to get on the record without having to go through the time-consuming and financially risky process of resubmitting the applications. Because as the committee may know, the window for 95% reimbursement of these projects closed on June 30th of 2024. So if we were forced into a position of having to reapply for a project grant, the city would lose the 95% reimbursement and be put back into the zone of 80%-ish as the reimbursement rate. We don't want to jeopardize that. So we're beginning to prepare documentation to have that conversation with first with the city's administration and ultimately with our delegation in order to codify projects at the appropriate budget as well as the appropriate project type.
Thank you, Jack. That was a lot. I'll open it up for discussion. Any questions? You know, the delegation won't be prompted until the administration, the COO, Chief of Staff, Mayor, Councilman Clark, etc. So we'll meet with them first before the delegation is approached, but it really, due to the fact that they are squeezing the amount of flexibility and availability for the municipalities, this is the path to which we need to go to protect these projects. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Jack. Move on to item number 8 on the agenda, future projects and development. Working with procurement to get the next round out and start the same process we did this time last year. Any questions on Batchelder, Sanchez, and Sand? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 9 on the agenda, everybody. That's project closeout, Weaver High School. You know, the fire alarm in particular, Corp Council, the COO, getting them up to speed and then talking about next steps with the design team of record for the fire alarm system at Weaver. Moving forward on that. Can't offer too much more, but are there any questions that I may be able to answer?
Mr. Chair, what has transpired from last meeting to this meeting?
The engagement, the up to speed, Ms. Browdy, and not too much more, unfortunately.
I just want to put it on the record. If I haven't last meeting, I now have a child in that building, so it makes it a little bit more personal for me.
Understood, Ms.
So I am looking forward to what comes of this, hopefully sooner than later. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Item number 10, other business. I think I mentioned earlier, you know, we were awarded phase 1 NRES program for Eversource for a rooftop solar project on Weaver. It's a little more complicated because there's an open grant due to the fire alarm system. But that was the start of the program we're trying to develop. And I mentioned that on the Wish School, which is an ideal roof to do another array system. Any questions on photovoltaic arrays being put on our schools throughout the portfolio that I can answer? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 11, and that's adjournment. Is there a motion?
So move.
Mr. Silva?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
Chief Davis Gouge. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Councilman Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Mills,
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you everyone for your time. Appreciate you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too, Mr. Chair.